be traveling on Saturday for January 6th to Pennsylvania. That is something that the campaign is putting together.
Campaign trip to commemorate January 6th. After his trip this coming weekend, President Biden heads to speak at Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina on Monday. It's the second of his first 2024 campaign speeches. He'll likely echo themes from the first speech: Trump's a threat to democracy, Trump's racist, et cetera, et cetera. The location, of course, carries special meaning because in 2015, Dylann Roof killed 9 people, shooting there at that historically black church. Where President Biden isn't going, coal country in Pennsylvania, suburban Atlanta to talk with white workers, middle of Michigan to court union workers. Those are places with swing voters. But Mr. Biden is heading to a black church in a red state because of problems with his base, black voters. With us now, civil rights attorney Robert Patillo, political consultant Shermichael Singleton. Gentlemen, good to see both of you. Robert, start with you because you've been predicting this. New polling from the Roper Center shows Biden gets the support of 63% of black voters, down from the 87% he carried in 2020. Does going to talk at a black church in Charleston change that?
It doesn't change it, but it's a good first step. What the black community is looking for is legislation. We were promised a George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. It hasn't been voted on. We've been promised a Voting Rights Act. Hasn't been voted on. We've been promised various economic opportunities have not materialized yet. So for all the good work the Biden administration has done, there's still a deficit that has to be met. And when you see them advocating so strongly for other communities, it's very much as a push to get legislation pushed through while we have the opportunity to do so. Politico,
hardly a right-leaning news organization, came out with a phenomenal piece about Charlemagne the God, calling it the Charlemagne the God problem. We'll put up the headline in a minute. The influential radio host of The Breakfast Club is a thorn in the side of Democrats, but he's also representative of one of their biggest problems. Damn, you told us to vote for them, meaning Biden-Harris. Do you know how many people say that to me all the time? Shermichael, it's one thing to have people sit on the couch and stay home. It's another thing to flip them to be Republicans. That's not something that either Trump or Nikki Haley seems to be working on.
Yeah, but I don't think Trump necessarily needs to do that. Trump needs to just maintain his previous numbers in 2020. I mean, you look at states like Arizona and Georgia that Biden was able to flip. If Trump can regain those states, he'll win. Biden won Georgia by less than 20,000 votes. He won Arizona by less than 20,000 votes. So when we look at the math, if there's a deficit in African-American turnout, if there's a deficit in Hispanic turnout, if there's a deficit in younger voters overall, then those states could indeed flip back to the Republican corner, thus giving Donald Trump a victory electorally this November.
I think about Joe Biden's relationship with the African-American community. He's had to apologize a couple times. He had to apologize. Yeah, well, I know, but even 2020, talking to Charlemagne the God about courting the black vote, and then also for a comment in 2012. Take a listen.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
Robert, being taken for granted is one thing, right? Nobody wants to feel taken for granted. But the ... to that would be he picked the first black vice president in history. Why does that not sort of settle this all once and for all?
Oh, it's a first step. President Biden has an impeccable record when it comes to the appointment of African Americans. Contrary to what Mr. McKelvey has said, I'm not going to call a grown man Charlemagne, sorry, but contrary to what he has said, President Biden put an African American woman on the Supreme Court, African American vice president, African American defense secretary, African American joint chiefs, African American HUD secretary, African American joint.
We get the list.
You get the list. So President Biden has a record to stand on, but when it comes to those big legislative items that that he campaigned on, those are where they were missing.
I'm wondering, though, if it's a little more complicated. I'll give you the last 20 seconds or so. Social issues. Young black men, there's a conservative streak when it comes to certain social issues. I'm thinking about trans issues. I'm thinking about male head of household issues. I'm thinking about education. I'm wondering if it's a little bit more complicated. I'm thinking about housing and access to housing. I'm wondering if it's a little more complicated.
Economic prosperity. I mean, black men are trending more towards the right, like men generally speaking. I think black men, if you look at some focus group data, they do sort of feel this sense that they're being neglected, that they're being ignored by Democrats. And anytime they talk about black men, it's only under the guise of criminal justice reform, as if that is the only thing that impacts us. I've never been to prison, nor have my good friend Robert here. And so I would just say quickly here, Leland, overall, Democrats do have a problem with a certain sector of African Americans. And while many black people continuously vote Democratic, there is a possibility with the right message, with the right policy positions, particularly those that are focused on economics, for more black men to say, you know what, I'm going to give something else a try.
All right, fair enough. And to your point, they don't have to give it a try, right? They just have to stay home, and it changes things.
Yeah.
Well, I would hope that Republicans had to put a black platform forward to create an actual marketplace
There we
of
go.
ideas.
All right.
Don't disagree, Robert.
Hey, you see, I love this. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.